do we cleanse, tonify, and moisturize? Because like we've been being taught that forever now, right? It hasn't changed. Still important. It's not just about beauty. It's also about health. You know, cleaning the skin so you can be clean to face the world. And that creates the continued cleanliness of us like interacting in clean ways. So it's about washing the face, washing yourself off. So cleansers, first off, a lot of people don't think about, like you could have a cream cleanser, but you could easily just use one of your spices. Like if you have coriander in your kitchen, it is an amazing sloughing exfoliator. So you could just take some coriander with a little bit of water and you could start scrubbing your face with it. And coriander is tridoshic, so it doesn't matter what kind of skin you got, but it is an amazing astringent which will never dry you out. And it's just a natural little slough. So we forget that we could use like licorice powder or cardamom or coriander. You could do cumin, but I can't tell you it smells lovely. I like it in my food, but it's not lovely with my beauty care. But you could use it. You know, you could use turmeric, but it would turn you yellow. So there's a little bit of an issue there. You know what I mean? And I've done it, so don't do that. So that's one of the simplest kind of cleansers that I think get overlooked all the time. It's just something that's in a powder form. You know, like I've played with using like licorice ashwagandha. I drink the licorice ashwagandha as my adaptogen, and then I use it as my cleanser and my slougher for my skin. You can also leave it on like a pack. You know, you could add a little clay, add some water, add some maybe aloe if you want an anti-inflammatory, or add some yogurt if you want to really get an enzymatic kind of cleansing, like pore cleansing process. You could add yogurt. Or if you wanted to, you could do them all, but you know, not necessary. You might want to think like, am I inflamed? Aloe. Do I need like pore cleansing, but I don't want to get stripped? Like I'm not into stripping the skin to clean it. It's not necessary. Then you do yogurt because it's enzymatic. Or honey. Honey is astringent and it pulls toxins to the surface. It's probably one of the most cleansing things you could do for your skin. You know, just honey and that coriander powder. And basically you could put that on, you could leave it. You could add a little clay if you even wanted, make it into a mask. But the thing people do wrong when they put a mask on, your daily's just cleanse, cleanse, scrub, 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 you're done. Rinse your face, you're done. If you're gonna do a mask, you just leave it on. If you add honey, it's gonna stay on, it's gonna stick really good. And then what you wanna do when the honey starts drying out, you do what's called a honey lymphatic facial. And that's where you actually use the tackiness of the honey drying out, and you do this tack, 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 tack. Sticky, 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 sticky. And it's pulling the toxins out of the pores as it's got that tackiness. It's an amazing cleanser. So simple. You know, you need so little. You know, half a teaspoon of honey is like gonna be plenty, but you actually use it. Or if you have a mask on, you wanna let it dry, and then what you wanna do is you don't wanna just rinse it off, you wanna slough it off. You wanna, it's like doing a salt scrub for your face. So you wanna kind of scrub and like really use it like an exfoliant over the sink. Just cleanse everything, just get in there, you know, open everything up. Think about where your wrinkles are that you don't love. You know what I mean? Not like scrubbing in there, because like there's crevices in those wrinkles. They don't show up as more when you clean the crevices of a wrinkle. They're not as prevalent. That's why one person could be like, oh my gosh, I look so good today. And then a couple days later, you're all, it's all dried out, wrinkled up. You're like, what happened? And you got dehydrated, and a little bit of pollution got stuck in those crevices, and it makes them more pronounced. Just like if you put the wrong color or the wrong kind of makeup on it, you know, it can make them more pronounced. So think about your cleansers in really simple ways. It doesn't have to cost a fortune to be able to just add the honey to that coriander, Or maybe think about ashwagandha powder because it's so nutritive for dry skin. That's your nutritive. Yeah, this is daily. That's what I use daily. Coriander. Coriander and aloe. That's kind of my primary because I run more inflamed, you know. Not as much as I used to though. Then once you're clean, now why did you clean? Not just to clean the wrinkles to make them less pronounced, but it does work. But you cleanse the pores. That means your skin can breathe better. If your skin breathes better, you actually breathe better. Have you not experienced this before? Feeling a little bit of content or like breathing room after like a really good deep facial? You know, it really does have something, or like after you've done a good sweat, you know, just kind of more breathing room. And then your hydration, okay? And hydration, or I want a tonification, I should say, water hydration, but it's tonification. And what I want to do, because I have so many that I've just been putting out, but I'm going to give you a couple that are very specific. First, I'm going to pass around.
You want me to pass something?
Sure. I'm going to pass around the rose geranium and the palmarosa to start. I'm passing these around, I'm passing these around to start because they are all cell regeneration. All three of these are for cell regeneration. So you're not only doing with water molecules to kind of plump up the cells, but you're actually stimulating cell growth. So some oils really are good for wrinkles more than others, or keeping the skin plump. Rose geranium and ylang-ylang and palmarosa are very specific to that. Palmarosa is better for the nerves if you feel like your cells are more not regenerating, or you're feeling depletion in your tissue because of stress and nerve disorders. Palmarosa is where it's at. And don't forget to open your mouth and put some of that in your mouth too, because they're digestible. You get a little medicine in there too. And rose geranium is specific for adrenals, and it's the oil of preservation. It's all about preserving the skin. And it also, you know, they talk about it being good for like sun protection, but I wouldn't think of it as UV rays. More like protecting you from sun damage, you know? So sun-weathered skin, rose geranium as your toner is going to be really smart to kind of close up those pores. You just opened them with the cleanser, or say if you were in the steam room or something and sweating, you need to close the pores down. It's just like getting hot and then going in the cold plunge. Same difference, but for your face.
These are hydrosols?
These are actually floral waters. The difference is that a hydrosol was actually the water that was made when you were doing a distillate. But it's a very small range I can get on the market, which is sad for the amount of essential oils I can get. Like all those hydrosols are being thrown away. Gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of medicine being thrown away. I know, and they're drinkable, which essential oils are not, you know. But no, these are floral waters. And the difference would be that we pour out all these different bottles and we have all this essential oil volatile gas finish in our bottles. And it ends up with small amounts at the bottom of the bottle, always.
The essential oil.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to throw them away. So I was like, what am I doing with all these bottles? And my husband was starting to be like, what are you doing with all these bottles? And I was kind of like, why don't we throw some different crystals in them and fill them with water and put them through a month-long process and let them infuse. So he puts different gems in them. He used garnet and quartz crystal for all of these to see how it changed in the same plant. And then every day he shakes them to build oxygen molecules and to get the volatile gases to mix with the water. They sit for a month and then we bottle them up. So they're you know, really something we just designed out of bottles that seem empty, but they're not, because they're full of tiny, minute amount of volatile gases. So those are the ones going to be that really regenerate. And again, you know, floral waters are also good for like doing enemas. You know, you could put like a tablespoon, just open it, take a tablespoon out. Any one of these, a tablespoon in a 3-cup enema. And I don't know if you guys know, but my enemas are all mineralized, rebuilding, small, holding, healthy, soaking the pan enemas. And so, adding a little bit of those essential oils just sloughs the plaque off the sides of the walls. So if you want cell regeneration, and I'm now talking enemas, why would you pick one of those 3 plants, the ylang-ylang, rose geranium, or palmarosa, for someone who maybe has like perforated colon or colitis or irritable bowel? If you can do cell regeneration, that means it's tissue health, tissue regeneration. So you might need that internally as well as external water.
Okay.
Yep. Any one of these is safe in a ratio of a tablespoon per enema or douche. I'm really into the old days of douching before Massengill told us we were dirty and wanted us to use white vinegar and stripped us out and gave us problems. Up until the 70s, we were douching regularly and very routinely after menses and once a month after menopause. And the reason for that is because we have got to make sure the vaginal wall is clear of its impurities. But we're not using a bunch of vinegar and stripping ourselves out and acting like we're dirty. We're replenishing, we're restabilizing the flora, and restabilizing. So that's the kombu seaweed tea that we use. The difference with an enema is it's 3 cups and you hold as long as you can. I do have step-by-step instructions you can get on your way out. If you've never done an enema before, it can change your skin drastically and pain. But douching is part of it too, especially if you have hormonally designed or you get skin conditions when you're in your menstruation cycle, if you still have one, then, that's a time when, we routinely kind of finished its follow through. I mean, in Ayurveda, they literally see it the follow through of menses. You douche to follow through. You make sure all the blood is out, you make sure the downward motion is sloughed, you can tonify yourself back, meet the world again. That's why we went to the red tent. That's what they did in the red tent, So you think you have a bunch of open pores, and I'm gonna show you some other things, so I'll try to get through this part of the class. I have more to teach you. Thank you. I'm gonna just show you a couple that are really, really, really good for if you think you have a lot of open pores, okay? If you think your pores are kind of open and wide and kind of oily, you kind of have that sebaceous gland picture, these are going to be your 3 primary. White cedar, frankincense, and green myrtle. Myrtle's the most warming, so if you feel like you have clogged pores or whiteheads, and you feel like you have poor circulation, that myrtle is really the way to go. It's warmer. Poor circulation is cold. Frankincense is your primary anti-inflammatory. So if you know that you're more profuse and inflamed, have a lot of adrenaline stress, or maybe you have very open pores because you sweat during your work all day or you work really hard, like massage therapists get a lot of open pores because of the sweating they do in the treatment room and with the amount of oil they work with. Frankincense would be the way to go. And it's the most tonifying of pretty much anything here. Cedarwood is up there, that's the other one, white cedarwood. It's more neutral. Like I just want to have a great toner that keeps my pores nice and tonified and clean and tight, and I want good tonified skin. That's cedarwood. It's
So if
also
you have
very
pores-
inexpensive.
So if your pores are large, that is, you're secreting a lot of oil then? Or
You are either making a lot of sebum, so your sebaceous glands are working overtime to keep you plump, which is dehydration, or pitta profuse, where you're like sweating a lot or you're really stressing a lot and you're like going, doing, stress-related doers. Those are the ones who get the open pores, And then again, where? Because someone might only get open pores here. Someone might only get open pores here, right? I mean, we all look at each other. You've seen these things on a friend, You can, the Flora waters and hydrosol, same thing. A hydrosol or a Flora water, a tablespoon, you can use them in douches, enemas. You could add it to a pitcher of water. They're drinkable essential oils. But they're also tonifying and cleansing. Essentials are naturally astringent in nature, so they will astringe the pore. Then we have our moisturizers. And what I'm gonna pass around is one that I have, white sage. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's California white sage infused salve, including with beeswax. But it's also including California white sage essential oil when we go to pour it in the bottle. So it's both. And that is super cleansing. We use it, like I created that formula for eczema, psoriasis, people who had like dry and hot. Where they're like, I don't know if I'm looking at Pitta or Vata. Like, I can't tell if I'm dry or hot. I'm like, well, actually, it's both. And that's the beauty of sage, especially when you put it in an emollient form like a salve. You've got the nutritive base for that dry out, but you've got that primary anti-inflammatory that's very specific for pulling fire out of the skin. Now, that's California white sage, different than sage officinalis, rubbing sage, you know, that we eat and grows everywhere. So one of the things, and I'll just say this about moisturizing, and then we'll kind of finish up with that part and move on, but one of the things I will say for moisturizing the skin is I often hear in the store, and I've talked to my employees and they hear it a lot, and they go, all you have is oils. Where's the moisturizers? And so we love to educate people on why we don't have a set moisturizer, you know? Because moisturizers basically have a combination. When you want to make a moisturizer, like a cream, a lotion, it's water molecules that are infused with oil. So they may seem like they digest better, but they don't get deep into the tissues. They just kind of disperse, and then you're gonna have to use it again later. Whereas if you trusted that an oil is not going to clog your pores because it's pure, straight from the earth, like if you can trust that oils are absorbable, just like you have to trust EFAs are absorbable fats in the body, right? You can't think they're bad fats. They actually break down bad fats. They combat, you know, breaking down bad fats. But you have to learn to trust them because sometimes you're taking 4 to 6 tablespoons of oil and it's like, whoa, what is this gonna do? And then all of a sudden it just makes your joints all nice and juicy and your skin gets plump and you realize it really helped you. So you'll have to learn to trust your salves and your oils in that way, you
what
know?
about the wax then? How does that get absorbed? Because you said is it beeswax?
Yep, there is a small amount of beeswax in there, and beeswax is a skin preserver. So it actually causes a protection and an insulation effect to the skin. So it seals it in and secures the sebaceous glands. So we need it. In fact, jojoba is not an oil at all, it's a wax. Vitamin E is not an oil at all, it's a wax.
Really?
So there's many waxes we've been putting on our body for years, knowing they're like some of the best wrinkle, cellular, structure-based oils. Big list we call oils. We call essential oils, and they're actually volatile gases that are transdermal, straight to the blood. They're not oils at all, you know? If you buy an essential oil and it's got an oily finish, that's not an essential oil. That's diluted, you know? They just absorb straight in. Some resins stick a little more. And then we have all our carrier oils, which I gave you my handout from my other class. So you have like every carrier oil I have researched to date. It's quite a few actually. I just decided to throw it in. Thought it'd be good. And then you have all your waxes, which we also call oils. Medium fatty chain are considered waxes. So coconut has a portion of wax. Olive oil goes solid in the fridge, it has a portion of wax. But all things that we've known for years preserve the skin. Yeah, protect and preserve. Trusting that they're not just clogging your pores is the tricky part. So the fun part of this class is being able to do skin assessment.